South Asian Insider Weekly. You're watching on our exclusive YouTube channel, Shoshi the WebTV. You can also follow and find today. We're interviewing the stars of Aladin and Lion King. We have Anju Cloud, and we have Daryl Rivera. How are you guys doing? Days going so far?
Thank you.
It's going great. It's fun to be here. Yeah.
So, how do you feel being on such a large production, being on Broadway? You guys are at the top of the music world. How does it feel?
It's honestly just an honor to be a part of the Aladin legacy and part of the Disney family, for sure.
Yeah, I think we're really lucky that Disney has taken such good care of bringing the story of Aladdin to life. Our houses are always sold out. We're here 10 years later. We're very, very lucky.
How does it feel like when you get into the role for your character, how you get into that headspace? Like, is there anything personal you do to get to that position where you feel like you can resemble a character pretty well into that?
Yes, I feel like I've trained to be a Disney villain my entire life. I have an older sister, so I practiced terrorizing her from a very young age. But no, truly, I just try to play as honest as possible. I know that might sound crazy, like coming from a character like Iago, but there's a lot of comedy in the honesty and the truth of wanting to take over a kingdom, right? And being 5'2" tall, so I just try to bring as much honesty to my performance, and I think that's where a lot of the comedy comes.
Yeah, and for me, I'm in the ensemble, and I have to do a full check-in of my body to get my body prepared to do the show every night, and I grew up dancing for as long as I can remember. I think as soon as I popped out, I was dancing. So it's just checking in with my body, making sure I'm healthy and ready to go and tell the story as best as I can, and kind of be there to help support all of the principals' stories moving forward.
And then, are there any favorite moments you guys had while performing on stage? Any favorite moments together as well?
My favorite moment was watching Anju make her principal debut as Jasmine. She was so good. So the Sultan, J.C. Montgomery, and Jafar, Dennis Stowe, all three of us were talking, and we were like, it's like she's been doing it for years. And it was her very first night. She was super cool, calm, collected, and really her skill is unbelievable. It was awesome. That was a good memory that we have together.
Yeah, for sure. And during the show every night, there is a moment at the beginning that I am standing by a building, and I have this big long pole full of silks, and I'm acting. I'm like, oh, it's so sweaty and Agrabah, and man, my hard day's work. And I look into the wing, and there's DDR doing some funny bit, like a turn or a magic trick he did the other day. So we get to have these fun moments where we get to play around, which is so fun.
Yeah. Are there any specific challenges you feel you faced for Aladin during this unique play?
Yeah, I think doing 8 shows a week on Broadway is definitely a difficult thing. So I've had moments where my body kind of gives out sometimes because it's exhausted, and just trying to maintain that balance of continuing to work on my craft and building my body's strength up to do the show every day has been, I think, the biggest challenge so far, yeah.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I think what people don't realize is how athletic you need to be able to sustain 8 shows a week for 10 years, right? Even for 3 months, being able to sustain that is really difficult. What we do, I think we try to make it look as easy as possible, as effortless and also beautiful, but it's pretty difficult. And so learning to bring a dynamic show while economizing any type of risk for injury or sustained injury, I think that's where a lot of craft comes with really great Broadway performers.
You guys do a great job. When you first started your acting careers, did you imagine you get to the point you're at right now on Broadway, performing with such a large audience all over the country and the world?
I never thought that I would get to Broadway. Right, I grew up in Seattle, Washington, which is on the complete opposite end of the other end of the country. And I grew up, my career was a lot of regional theater. So I was working around the country doing theater, but never really did I think that I would ever get to Broadway, let alone be in a Broadway show for 10 years, right, the entire time. So I consider myself really lucky.
Yeah, for me too. have that perfectionist side in myself, and I knew at a very young age that I wanted to perform, but I didn't really quite know in what avenue until I got older. And I went to school for musical theater, and going through the program, I was always like, I think I can attain Broadway, but it was never, I know I can attain Broadway. And it wasn't until I had more professional experiences where I was like, I can get there, but I didn't ever think that I would. And to be able to be on Broadway at this grand scale that Disney is so good at producing, it's an honor, truly.
It's an incredible performance you guys do. Is there anything you would say to the people that aspire to be in the positions you guys are at, the aspiring actors and actresses that want to get to voice or anything?
Yeah, I think just like reminding yourself to keep going and keep being persistent, and you know, you like in our line of work we hear no a lot, but I think like if you just continue to remember your worth, and you continue to remember that what we do is so fun, just bringing the fun back is, I think, the biggest key or advice that I could give someone.
I also agree. I like to say, don't forget to have fun. It's called a play for a reason, right? But also be, especially now in our generation, really being true to your authentic self and being proud of who you are and what your story was before, and what you can take from your story and bring into these new characters or these opportunities that you have. It makes the tapestry of Broadway, of theater, of art in general so rich. So just be yourself.
And then, are there any nice reactions, like audience reactions or fan reactions, like fan spottings you've had? Anything memorable?
One time I got recognized at Disney World for being in Aladdin on Broadway, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't have my costume on or my face on, and I'm like wearing glasses and with my family. So the reach of Disney on Broadway being kind of around our country, I think is really awesome. That's so cool. Yeah,
for me it's really just like the little kids. Like sometimes the little kids are right there in the front row, and we have a really good view of them, and they have their little Jasmine doll or something like that, and then you just see their faces like kind of realize what's actually happening and what they're experiencing, and they're like, that for me is like always my favorite reaction to see, is when like a kid's like world explodes in their brain. Yeah.
It's like real magic, like live in front of them.
Yeah.
Then how do you feel Disney is able to create this environment for you guys to work in? How does it feel to work with them specifically as well?
I think we've been really lucky because Disney has such amazing stories, right? And they go back years and years and years, all the way to Snow White, right? And the fact that they're able to work so skillfully in animation and take that exact same skill and care and bring it to life on stage in front of a live audience, that's a whole other level of entertainment, right? That's a whole other genre, and the fact that they've been able to do it so beautifully, we're so lucky. We're really lucky that not only do they have these beautiful stories, but they're able to deliver such an incredible magical experience for every single guest from the moment they step through the doors to the moment they leave.
Can't say it any better than that.
That was great. That was a great answer. And then, is there anything on the top of your head that you want to talk about, like personal projects, things that you want to go for, that you look forward to for your future career?
Oh, I could always use more Instagram followers. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. No.
He makes great TikToks. Okay, his TikToks are funny.
No, not really. I want them to come. I want them to come to the show. You know, I would love for them to experience Aladdin live. Right? There's nothing like a Broadway show.
Well, if you'd like to see you outside of the Broadway show, what's your Instagram?
Oh, my Instagram is at Don Darrell Rivera.
Plug it, honey. Plug away.
And then anything you want to anything off the top of your head, personal things, projects?
Not projects per se, but personal things is just like be in a Broadway show for a long time. Yeah, we're so lucky to be a part of a Disney show that we know is successful and magical and beautiful. And we come to do the show, and the houses are sold out almost every day. And the stability of that is something I do not take for granted. So yeah.